It's here, guys. It's finally here. Now, if you've been keeping up with my channel, you might know that I've been working on a fan fiction. Now, basically, this fan fiction will be a trilogy, and maybe some spin-offs in the middle of that. I wanted to do like a Spider-Verse kind of thing. I'm not trying to copy Arachnocrawler, one of my favorite fan fiction channels of all time. I'm just not trying to copy him. I'm just trying to put my own spin on things and trying to put my imagination to the test. So, without any further ado, introducing the spectacular Spider-Man. We start off with a hooded man walking through New York City. He's hooded so nobody can see his face. He's looking around, and then he sees a man. The man walks up. He says, "You got the stuff?" "Yes," he replies. "Now, it is time to get the water to the spout of the spider." "Yes, but first, we need to go somewhere." We then go to Peter swinging around New York City. He's having fun, saving people and fighting crimes. He doesn't really see much in the city other than just petty crimes from criminals. He then remembers he has a date with Betty Brant he met at the Daily Bugle. He says shoot, and then he stops swinging and goes into an alley. He changes and then walks to a local McDonald's nearby. He comes in, and Betty yells, "Peter, you're finally here." Yes, Betty," he says. "I'm sorry I'm late." Anyways, he's down and says, "What should we order?" And he said, "I'm already finished eating. You took that long." Peter replies, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really have much time to get out." And he said, We work at the same place. I don't know what you're talking about." All of a sudden, there's a shock under the table. Peter says, "What's going on?" Betty replies, "It's probably just the tables. You know these kind of tables aren't very good." Peter says, "No, it's more than that." Then, out of nowhere, the shocker just appears and starts destroying the whole place. Peter says, "We need to get out of here," when in his mind, he's really thinking of suiting up as Spider-Man. Anyway, Betty and Peter get everybody out of there. And then when Betty's looking for Peter after she gets out of it, Spider-Man shows up, and then Betty looks up and sees Spider-Man. Spider-Man gives her a little head nod, like a soldier. Peter swings in stealthily so Shocker won't see him. Shocker yells, "Where's the Spider-Man? Where is he?" Peter says, "You looking for me?" Shocker says, "Yeah, I'm not looking for you only. I'm looking to kill you." Peter says, "Okay, wow. Another person trying to kill me. I'm so scared." Shocker says, "Shut up. My friends are after you." And Peter says, "Friends are after me? It's not like the same thing with Rhino and Sandman." "Okay, how about we take this slow, buddy? How about you just take yourself in and we could do it the easy way." Shocker throws some sparks at Spider-Man. Spider-Man says, "Okay, I guess not." Spider-Man webs him up, but Shocker, strong enough, throws it out. Shocker says, "You think you could take me in this time, even if my friends will be able to stop you?" "Friends? Stop mentioning your friends," Spider-Man replies. The police show up, and then the Shocker somehow gets away. Peter looks there and looks back. How did he go? We then go to the hooded man that Shocker was talking to earlier. He beat you?" "Not really." I got away. "It doesn't matter. You still didn't finish our plan. Our plan was to kill him." "I did it." "Well, I guess you did it wrong." A man in a hat with a dark face says, "At least he got away. If he got to prison, they could have found out." To work on the floor. We go to Peter in his apartment. Someone bangs on the door. Thinking it's a villain, he grabs his mask. He looks through the peephole and sees Betty. "Oh, hey, Betty. What's wrong?" he says, opening the door. "Where have you been?" says Betty. "What?" Peter says in confusion. "Why did you leave me, Peter?" says Betty. "Why did you abandon me at McDonald's?" Peter suddenly remembers thinks of an excuse. Betty sees the mask in Peter's hand. Betty slams the door and walks away. "Dang it," Peter says. Go to Peter at the Bugle an hour later as he works there already in this timeline. Betty looks at Peter with a grin as he walks in. JJJ starts yelling at Peter for the photos Peter gave him a week ago. Peter says, but these are good. JJ says, if they're not good, you're fired. As Peter slowly starts giving them to JJ, but out of nowhere an explosion goes off. It's the shocker. Peter runs out to try and get his suit. Peter gets his suit, but it's torn for some reason. Turns out a cat started munching on it. You damn cat, Peter says. Peter then runs to Shocker and says, hey Shocker, I thought you were gone. Like, gone for good. Shocker says, you think I'd really stop killing you? And he said, why is killing me such a big thing? Anyway, Peter starts to run at Shocker as an electric bolt hits him. And turns out it's the Electro. The Electro wrecks Peter's mask and Peter says, how did they find me? How do they keep finding me? Peter then gets up and tries to run away, but the Electro, using some kind of handcuffs with lightning, bonds Peter to the wall. Peter says, no, I need to get out of here. Betty looks at Peter with his mask kind of torn up. Huh, weird, she says. He has the same backpack, she also says. Peter ends up getting away, but his mask has disappeared and he has to cover his face now. Peter gets home and says how they might find me here. If I need to find out how they found me. But before that, I need to get a new suit. Peter goes to Aunt May's house, sneaking into it, making sure Aunt May doesn't have it. We can have some fun things, like Aunt May kind of seeing Peter, or like almost seeing Peter, almost finding Peter. But anyways, the whole point of this is trying to get to Peter to go into a secret cabin he has. Kind of like the Spiderman the Spider-Verse one, but only just like a little underground back basement with some bare suits. You see Peter swing out with this cool, vibrant suit. It's like the other one, but the red is more of a silver texture, and it has a better and bigger and more like a lit spider symbol. Go to the Shocker and Electro with the guy who's the more dark in the head, and that with the hat, with the gray hat, saying, "How about we get?" He tells them to go and find him again, but this time don't let him go. If he goes, kill him, and kill the person who's closest. They probably are connected to him if you see them a lot. The Shocker says, well, I saw this blonde-headed girl he's usually with. Maybe she's close. And he says, how about you go and capture her? We see Peter at home again, talking to his friend Ned, who also works at a Bugle, on his phone. He explains that the suit that he got is electric-proof and lightning-proof, so it will be able to take on the Shocker and Electro at the same time. Ned denies that this will probably work, because if it works, then Electro and Shocker will be in prison, but there will be other villains who with similar powers. Peter says, well, I didn't say it doesn't last. Ned says, be careful, Peter. I'm worried for you. And Peter says, don't worry, I'm Spider-Man. I can deal with this. We go to Betty in her house, coming back from the Bugle's explosion. She says, how could an explosion be that big? I have an idea, the Electro says, on the top of her house. What are you doing here? Who are you? Hey, wait, you're that Electro guy, aren't you? Yes, he says, and I'm here to capture you. And she says, why? For suspense on your boyfriend? Boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend. We go to Peter swinging out the Daily Bugle. When he gets there, he sees JJJ on the floor. He says, Spider-Man, you menace. You better stop this before it gets worse. Spider-Man says, what is it, JJJ? JJJ says, the villains came. The opposite, your friends. Spider-Man says, my friends? JJJ says, shut up and stop it. JJJ says, they told me that they captured your girlfriend. Spider-Man says, my girlfriend? Probably Betty. And JJJ says, they're probably at the bridge or something. Just get me out of these. Spider-Man leaves with JJ not out of them. We see Peter swing to the bridge. He sees Shocker and Electro. He lands onto the bridge and says, stop. I am not here to hurt anyone. And Electro says, ooh, but I want to have a lot of hurt here. Well, it makes sense. You're not the one who's going to be hurting us. Spider-Man dodges an attack by Electro. Electro says, stop moving, you dumb little bastard. Shocker says, how about we take him together? They have a full-on fight, but Peter keeps dodging them. And even when he gets hit, the silver on his suit is blocking it, or putting it back, and was just plain down dodging it. Betty says, wait, what's going on? Spider-Man says, don't worry, Betty, I will get you. Betty says, how do you know my name? Spider-Man does a bunch of flips and eventually webs up a Shocker. Shocker can't get out of it because these webs are electric. And if you don't know, somehow electricity stops his gauntlets. Yeah, I have no idea either. Anyways, Spider-Man done with Shocker, and the police just showed up. Spider-Man says, I just want to end this day, man. Spider-Man then does a front flip and lands onto the bridge surface. Electro says, no, you're not getting away from me. This time, Electro shoots bolts at Spider-Man, but Spider-Man just figures out that if Electro somehow gets into the water under the bridge, then he could stop him. Spider-Man does a backflip and then webs up Electro's feet. Electro says, no, this can't be happening. Spider-Man just does like a 180, like in Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse when Miles is like swinging around Kingpin, that's the kind of thing, but it's with Electro. And then Electro falls into the sea and smoke starts to come up. The cops get there and say, thank you, Spider-Man. Maybe you're not a menace. JJJ says you are. We then see Spider-Man deliver Betty to the ground on the bridge. Spider-Man says, well, Betty, I think it's time for you to... Betty says, you're Spider-Man, Peter. And Spider-Man says, what? Betty says, I knew it for a long time, Peter. I just didn't really care. I always thought you were just being a hero, but I always wondered how you got the powers. I know you're a smart guy, so you probably just made it. Spider-Man says, well, I guess this is awkward. And Betty says, yeah. We have a post-credit scene where the man in the hat is talking to a person. We don't see the person, just like we don't really see his real face. The man says they were defeated. One of them was precisely killed, and the other one is in prison. Ha! The other man says, well, I guess we have to unleash other stuff. Maybe we can unleash the bird guy, or maybe the rhino. The bird guy is in prison, and the other guy's just gone. Well, I guess we have to unleash another one. So that was that was the spectacular Spider-Man movie that is made by me. This is my first Spider-Man fanfic on this channel. Well, on this channel, at least. Anyways, did you like it? I don't really know because I don't like it because this is my first one. I just hope you guys could be awesome, and maybe I can make a second one if you guys want. I just left on like a little post credits like cliffhanger just for you guys, like I don't know, just for you guys to like speculate, I guess. Anyway, comment, like, and subscribe, and this is Hero Station, and bye.